morning. My name is Rochelle Deloso, and my topic for today is all about human papillomavirus, or also called HPV. So, let's start, and I hope you like my presentation. For the overview of the topic, let me discuss what is HPV. Human papillomavirus cause the most common sexually transmitted infections. Also, is a viral infection that passed between people through skin-to-skin contact.
First, let's take a look at the HPV virus itself, or human papillomaviruses, are small, double-stranded DNA viruses. More than 100 HPV types have been identified. They are differentiated by the genetic sequence of a protective outer shell or cuspid made of a protein called L1. Inside this protective sphere is the viral DNA. About 40 types of the HPV infects the mucosal epithelium and are categorized according to their association with cervical cancer. The HPV gene structure or genome is organized into three regions with 8 overlapping open regarding frames, 6 early genes E1 to E7 to late genes L1 and L2, are one non-coding long control region or LC are containing a variety of elements which regulate viral replication and gene expression. The L1 and L2 genes are encode the major and minor cuspid protein. Early genes regulate HPV.
So, for our structure of HPV, small, non-enveloped, icosahedral DNA viruses that have a diameter of 55 nanometer. Protein caspid composed of 72 pentameric capsomeres, and the composition is 10% DNA and 90% protein. So for the replication is in the nucleus. So HPV is divided into high-risk HPV and low-risk HPV. So for the low-risk HPV types cause warts, and the high-risk HPV types can cause lesion or cancer. So for our pathogenesis of HPV, mode of transmission occurs by close contact. HPV infection is limited to the basal cells of stratified epithelium. It infects epithelial tissue through microabrasions or other epithelial trauma that exposes segments of the basement membrane. So HPV variant associate with receptors such as alpha integrins, laminins, and annexins A2. Papillomaviruses cause infection at cutaneous and mucosal sites. This, this occur in the cervix, vulva, penis, and anus. So, how HPV causes cancer? Early proteins E6 and E7 or E7 proteins inactivate two tumor suppressor proteins, P53 inactivated by E6 and the retinoblastoma inactivated by E7. So, E7 acts as a primary transforming protein. E7 competes for retinoblastoma protein binding, freeing the transcription factor E2F to activate its targets, those pushing the cell cycle forward. E6 in association with host E6 associated protein, which has ubiquitin ligase activity, acts to ubiquitinate 53 and leading to its proteasomal degradation. So, HPV may not cause symptoms at once, but they can appear years later. So, sometimes can lead to warts, some types can lead to warts, and while others can cause cancer. So, other warts associated with HPV include um, the warts, which is the genital warts, may appear as a small bumps, cluster, or cluster of bumps or stem-like protrusions, and they commonly affect the vulva in women and possibly the cervix and the penis or scrotum in men. So they may also appear around the anus and in the groin. So they can range in size and appearance and can be large, small, flat, or cauliflower shaped. So for the other warts associated with HPV, this will include common warts, graft, raised bumps most commonly found on the hands, finger, and elbows. For the plantar warts, described as hard, grainy growths on the feet, and they most commonly appear on the heels or balls of the feet. For the flat warts, generally affects children, adolescents, and young adults. They can appear as flat top, slightly raised lesions that are darker than normal skin color and most commonly found in the face, neck, or areas that have been scratched. So this picture show HPV 6 and 11, which is low oncogenic potential and responsible for greater than 90% of anogenital warts. So also the HPV type 6 and 11 are considered as the low risk genital types. For our HPV 16 and 18, considered to be high cancer risk, cause about 70% of cervical cancers cases 99%, and the anal cancer cases is 80%. So HPV 16 and 18 contributes towards malignancy and fall under the high risk genital types. So these are the diagnosis and treatments of HPV. So first, biopsy. If the biopsy results show pre-cancer or dysplasia or cancer, then treat is recommended. Next is the colposcopy, a procedure that allows illuminated stereoscopic and magnified viewing of the cervix. Next will be the pap smear test. HPV DNA can be amplified selectively by a series or reactions that lead to an exponential or reproducible increase in viral sequences present in the biological specimen. So, lastly, we're having the serological assay, which is the ELISA and the Western blot. So, for ELISA or enzyme-linked immunoassay, and the Western blot assay. So, for our treatment, this is currently, there is no currently specific treatment for HPV infection. However, warts can be treated. So, first, the salicylic acid, over-the-counter treatment that contains salicylic acid work by removing layers of the warts a little at a time. So next is the imiquimod, Aldara, or Reclara. This prescription cream might enhance your immune system ability to fight the HPV. Tapos, may common side effects naman siya include the redness and swelling at the application site. So, next is the Podophylox or Condylox, another topical prescription. Podophylox works by destroying genital warts tissue. Lastly is that trichloroacetic acid. This chemical treatment burns off warts on the palms, toes, and genitals. So for our prevention, a cervical cancer control, a comprehensive approach. So we have primary prevention, secondary prevention, and a tertiary prevention. So for our primary prevention, girls 9 to 14 years have an HPV vaccination, Girls and boys as appropriate health information and warnings about tobacco use, sex education, tailored to age and culture, condom promotion and provision for those engaged in sexual activity, and male circumcision. So for the secondary prevention, women 30 years old or older, screening with a high performance test equivalent or better than HPV test, followed by immediate treatment as quickly as possible of precancer lesions. So last tip for our tertiary prevention, all women as needed treatment of invasive cancer at any age, surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, palliative care. So these are the reference of my report, and that's all. Thank you for listening, and I hope you like my presentation.